Back at it again with the Mobius Stickus, Chapter 19, The Prophet. So in this short chapter, we meet our enigmatic friend Elijah, who is kind of creepy, like majorly creepy. But, what does this chapter accomplish? I think, obviously, in terms of the plot, it establishes a sense of, foreboding or a sense of fear about what this voyage will portend for our boy Ishmael and Queequeg. But let's take a look at just a couple passages that I think we can argue have some relationship to our compelling themes that we've been tracking. So here we have Elijah establishing the mystery around Captain Ahab. So he says, what do you know about him? What did they tell you about him? Say that. They didn't tell much of anything about him, Ishmael says. I've only heard that he's a good whale hunter and a good captain to his crew. That's true, yes, both true enough. But you must jump when he gives an order. Step and growl and go. That's the word with Captain Ahab. But nothing about that thing that happened to him off Cape Horn long ago when he lay dead for 3 days and nights. Nothing about that deadly scrimmage with the Spaniard afore the altar in Santa. Heard nothing about that, eh? Nothing about the silver calabash he spat into, and nothing about his losing his leg last voyage, according to the prophecy. Didn't ye hear a word about them matters and something more, eh? No, I didn't think ye did, and how could ye? Who knows it? Not all Nantucket, I guess, but howsever mayhap ye've heard tell about the leg, and how he lost it. Aye, ye have heard of that, did I dare say? Oh yes, that everyone knows a'most. I mean, they know he's only one leg, and that a Parmacetti took the other off. Okay, so Ishmael's not buying it, right? He's not buying how Elijah tries to spin this yarn about Ahab, and he even says down here in the second passage, it is the easiest thing in the world for a man to look as if he had a great secret in him. But nevertheless, this attitude towards Elijah's worries or prophecies or forebodings doesn't necessarily work, because by the end of the chapter, Ishmael is thinking about it once again. He's being followed by Elijah, and then he says, this circumstance, coupled with his ambiguous, half-hinting, half-revealing, shrouded sort of talk, now begat in me all kinds of vague wonderments and half-apprehensions, and all connected with the Pequod, and Captain Ahab, and the leg he had lost, and the Cape Horn fit, and the silver calabash, and what Captain Pelag had said of him when I left the ship the day previous, and the prediction of the squaw Teesteg, and the voyage we had bound ourselves to sail, and 100 other shadowy things. So I think if we put this stuff together, the chapter forces the reader to wonder whether there is more or less meaning to Ahab and the voyage than it seems. Is this Elijah appearance a false sign, a misleading, mysterious rambling of a crazy person, or will the voyage be more daunting than previously considered? Obviously, for the reader, this kind of gives them a sense of like, stay tuned and find out. But additionally, this does connect to the themes we're talking about, because once again, this is a question of interpretation. When someone is presented with information which seems vague and incomplete, what is the correct way to interpret it into a truth claim that you can act on? Is Elijah's general rambling something that you can interpret, or is the information that we're presented with as human beings oftentimes immune or too vague for us to interpret with any certainty? I think this is a case study in miniature of the same type of interpretation questions which have been coming up and will continue to come up in the chapters. All right. We're going to say that we're done with chapter 19. Little quickie. The start of the book is full of these little quickie chapters, and I'll see you in chapter 20.